So this is looking out at, oh, I think that's a bat that just flew by. Pea, flying fox. This is like a forest reserve. There's another bat, another isi pea, another flying fox. So this is a forest reserve. It's about a 10-minute walk from my home. That, I thought that was the mountain. No, that is the branch. It's, what is that one? I thought it was oleoli, giant fern tree. You can see the ocean. The ocean is there. Yeah, the golden part. Yeah, would be the ocean. And then the part in front of that would be the land down below where Apia, the capital, is. I think we missed the lights. I'm not really looking at the lights. Let's see. All right, now one more pass. See if we can, yeah, I can start to see the lights down there below at the bottom of the frame. Some of the lights of the capital. I think that might be the huge, ginormous swimming facility built by the Chinese for the South Pacific Games, which we hosted, I think it was a year ago or so. And one more pass now. And the fast changing light. So the sound we're hearing are cicadas. And in Samoan, the expression for this time of day is tangi alisi, which means cry of the cicadas. So for the different times of day, there's different Samoan expressions that are quite grounded in nature or metaphorical. The one for dawn, for the early morning hours, for example, is vaveao. So ao would be the light. So vaveao would be the quickening of the light. So that would be the expression for dawn or pre-dawn, or actually from like 1 a.m. or so, I think. But now we're in this time of day called tangi alisi, which is marked by this, the cry of the cicadas, which, by the way, are a important symbolic animal in Samoa because they are connected with Nafanua, who is our, it's goddess of war in the sense of spiritual warriorhood. And I'll write about her, but she is basically our hero. She would be the national hero of Samoa, basically, would be Nafanua. And the Alisi are significant because they were the form taken by her ancestors when she was fighting, apparently single-handedly, the conquerors when we were invaded and occupied by the Tongans some centuries ago. And so she came up from the underworld where she was living with her dad, Saveasi Uleo, who was like half eel and half man. And then she has a magical birth, of course, as heroes do. And so she had heard the cries of her people up above in the upper world, and then asked her dad, how come, what's up with that? And he said, explained to her about the Tongan occupation, and they were humiliating our high chiefs and basically, being rude, uncouth invaders, as they will do. And then, so she resolves right away, she's still like a teenager at that point. She resolves to go up and help her people up in the world above. And then asks him, and then he says, okay, well, so he gives her tips and training, and then these 4 magical weapons, one of which is, so there's 2 war clubs, and there's 2 alo pau pau, the paddle for the boat, the va'a. She will paddle up to above to the upper world. And each one of these 4 weapons has a special name and function, but the one that stays with me always, mostly and first and foremost, is the one called Fa'auli Uli To, which translates roughly as, do not let yourself be overcome by anger. And that's one of the 2 oars for her canoe, va'a, that she will paddle up to battle. So anyway, fast forward to the upper world, where she is doing battle with the enemy, apparently single-handed, because no one else can see any other warriors, because all the warriors got killed already from this occupation, long occupation by the Tongans. So then there's this, unfamiliar warrior suddenly who's there fighting off the enemy, apparently single-handed. But it turns out that she's not single-handed, that actually all her ancestors are fighting with her, but they have taken the form of alisi, or cicadas, and dragonflies. So it just appears that there's this one single unfamiliar warrior fighting on his, because her dad had told her she had to cover her breasts, so no one would know she was a woman. That was one of his instructions, because, that would have been highly, well, they never had a woman warrior before, Nafanua. So, so she routs the enemy. And it's not until she chases them into the adjoining village, and I don't know if it's Neafu, or she's from Falialupo, and the westernmost tip of the westernmost island. So she chases them that far, but she stops at the boundary of that village, because of the traditional courtesy of Samoa fa'aloalo, that you would not intrude on the peace of your neighbors, uninvited. So she's standing there on the hill looking down, and at the enemy running away from her, or the remains of the enemy, the ones that are left that she hasn't already dispatched. So she's looking down, and they in turn are looking up, as are the village people, wondering, who in the world, who is this mystery warrior? Who? And then suddenly a wind comes up and lifts up her singlet, her top, her shirt, and exposes her breasts. And which is when everyone discovers that this is like the great warrior, mysterious warrior, hero of Samoa, is a woman. And so then the enemy upon seeing this, it's the final straw for them, and they're like totally humiliated. I mean, not only have they been defeated by a single warrior, it turns out that single warrior is a woman. So that's, and then it goes on. This is a long cycle. It's recorded, and I want to write it. I'm actually planning to write an epic version. This is our epic, because there's much more before her and after her, and during her time. But she's going to go on after this to reorganize the political system and of Samoa, and to restore the lands to their rightful villages, Aingas, extended families. And then later on down the line, so she's hooked up with her sort of her army called Tonu Maipea, and they're connected with the Flying Fats. This is a very rich tradition of mythology. But for this major strain of the narrative, she is, so when she reorganizes the traditional lands and villages and restoring them to their proper stewards, extended families and villages, in effect, then she reorganizes or reanimates the traditional system of pule, of authority in Samoa. And then her sort of adopted kind of little small personal army, the Tonu Maipeas, with her, then they sort of, I guess they're like caretakers kind of, until equilibrium is restored in the country. And then at some point soon, I don't know if it's the next generation, but it's soon thereafter, a child will be born. Maybe what she did was to just reanimate the 4 major titles of Samoa. I think that might be it, which is referred to this day. They are referred to as Tama Aiga, and they're the 4 royal chiefly titles of Samoa. And then in this next generation, or pretty soon, a girl baby will be born. Salamasina is her name, and she will hold all 4 titles, and so for that reason be called queen, or the equivalent of queen. I think she's the only person in our history, that ever had all 4 titles. Today we have 4 different holders of the different titles, which is generally, I think, been the case through history after Salamasina. Okay, so that's Tangi Alisi, whom you heard there. You can hear the subsiding, the song. And now I will finish my walk with Bruno and Nala and Chuki, if she's still here, and Rocky, maybe, my little posse of canine protectors, my security guard, who like to go with me, roaming around. So wishing you all well from Samoa on this very happy day when the ex-Prime Minister, who's been causing us a lot of grief because he won't leave office peacefully, he got served with a subpoena today for contempt of court, him and the 4 major people in his camp, including his lawyer and the Speaker of the House, and then I think the other one was like the secretary of the party. So, so relieved. So this is a very happy day today, because I think this means the beginning of the end for this charade we've been dealing with for weeks now, which has prevented the rightful newly elected government led by the first woman leader of Samoa. I think since Salamas, come to think of it, since Nafanua, I think so. We haven't had a woman leader. So the first woman prime minister in Samoa And the second head of government, woman, leader in Oceania. Pacific woman, indigenous woman. So it's a very, this is a very auspicious time for us. And I am so grateful to have this display from the heavens of celebration of this. I think this is the turning point now, today, with this, these actions by the court. So wishing you well wherever you are, from Samoa, Alofa, Tele, Atu, Sina, and Bruno, Nala, Rocky, and Juki. Yeah, fa soifua.